It is time for story time with Gina, is what it's time for. Let me do something. I think I've got something turned on. I want to do off, monitor off. Okay, we got it. Can you hear me? I hope we do not have an echo. Do we have an echo? Let me hear it. I'm going to come over here. We're going to look at the little green men because they do exist. Let me just do this. Come over here. We're on here. We got 16 people watching. Oh, yes, we can do it. Hello, everyone. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can hear. I'm going to turn my volume up, you all. Wait a second. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can hear. Okay. Turn my volume up, you all. Wait a second. Okay, we got it. The little green men is what we've got. And there has been talk about little green men. Has anyone seen, now this is serious, have you seen anyone, this is story time with Gina. It's about the little green men. Let's read what it's about. Gina, honey, we can do it. Let's read what I wrote on here. Why are aliens so often depicted as little green men with bulbous heads and oversized eyes? The mythology began in part on the night of August the 21st of 1955. That's right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. So I have not heard this before, but I think it's going to be pretty interesting. Thank you for those hearts flying up the screen. I love it. I do love it. Yeah. I've got to keep up with myself on here, you all. I do. Let me refresh this. Good evening, everyone. Okay, I think we've got it. We've got it. Yeah, it's hot. It's hot. If you did not see that dancing video, you might want to go watch it. I decided I wanted to dance right there in the opening of CERN, right through the portal, you all. We can do it. We did do it. Dance right with CERN. It's great. So I'm going to show this right here. Little green men. Little green men is the stereotypical portrayal of extraterrestrials as little humanoid creatures with green skin and sometimes with an antenna on their heads. The term is also sometimes used to describe gremlins. Oh, mythical creatures known for causing problems in airplanes and mechanical devices. I see. Mythical. Whenever I see mythical, that makes me think, okay, they're really real. Okay, let's look at some images of the little green men. This is all types of images right here, and they do look kind of like alien grays, and they got the cartoon characters. And really, why do they have something like that? Why did they? Oh my gosh, it's 110 in Arizona. Hello, everyone. We got them. Okay, now let's boop. Gina, you better get back to where you're supposed to be. I'm trying to get back over here. I want to read this right here, the History Channel. Oh wow, this is a big screen. This is perfect. How the little green men phenomenon began on a Kentucky farm. So if you are in Kentucky right now, we are going to read about Kentucky and the little green men. Yes, we are. That's right. So the 11 witnesses who arrived at the Hopkinsville police station were genuinely terror-struck. So this does not sound very pleasant. It doesn't. Volker Johnson, published on January the 2nd of 2020. So sex, there was no indication of sex. Their ears were swept back. Did I make this screen that big, you all? I did not do it. Their ears were swept back, extended quite a bit above the crown of the head. Their head was almost round, bald, the same color as their body. Their eyes were yellow, center, white rim about 6 inches apart and glowing. Their mouth was a thin line, but not sure that there was a mouth. Their nose, they didn't have a nose. One man stated very strongly that there was no nose and did not have a neck. Okay, they did not have a neck. They didn't have a nose. They didn't even know if they had a mouth. They knew they had eyes. And they were bald. Their head was the same color as their body, you all. This is really interesting. It is. The figure. Little. Hey. Does this not look... Did you ever see the Harry Potter? The Harry Potter thing, and that little thing on there that had those big ears like that. Remember that? What was that thing called? That reminds me of the ears on that. It really does. This was a little man, as described by Billy Ray Taylor, drawn by Andrew Bud Ludwig. Dobie, thank you, Kathy. Height is 2.5 to 3.5 feet. There was no indication of sex. Their head was bald, the same color as their body, chin, almost a point. Their ears were floppy, large and extended, considerably above the crown of the head, pointed at the top, like wrinkled leather, like a elephant's maybe, extended out from side to side of the head somewhat. They had miniature feelers or antennae on each side of the top of their head. They had dark depressions in their ear. Their nose saw a cone-like nose tapering to a point with a ball on the end of it. Their mouth and upper lip tucked under their lower lip. Their shoulders were sloped sharply, and they did not have a neck. Their body was powerfully built to the waist, so they had muscles. Their legs were slim and stick-like, stick legs. Their arms were long, almost touched the ground. Their hands were wide, talons. Their feet were circular like suction cups. Mothman. What if that is Mothman? Have you all seen these before? If you're just tuning in, have you seen these beings right here? This is the depiction of them. Right there, you can see this was, they're 2.5 to 3.5 feet tall is what they are. I've never heard this before, so this is pretty interesting. It really is. How are we doing over here? Do we need a moderator on here? Or are we good? We're probably good, right? Yeah. You've seen sightings on YouTube, and many have claimed to see them. Okay, that's great. Okay, we got it. I think we do got it, you all. An illustration depicting the little green men described by Billy Ray Taylor, recorded in some kind of books, Close Encounters, maybe 5. I don't know what that means, you all. 1955, at Kelly and Others of 1955. We are good. That's perfect. Why are the aliens so depicted as little green men with bulbous heads and oversized eyes? The mythology began in part of the night of August the 21st of 1955, when a large extended farm family called the Suttons arrived breathlessly at the Hopkinsville police station in southwestern Kentucky. Whoopsie. Their story of a terrifying siege by otherworldly beings would become one of the most detailed and baffling accounts of an alien close encounter on record. Notable for the large number of witnesses, nearly a dozen. The duration of the encounter, which was several hours, and the close proximity between the witnesses and the creatures, sometimes just a few feet away. The incident quickly became regional and even national news. The alleged encounter occurred on the Sutton's farm in the tiny rural hamlet of Kelly, Kentucky, where the family lived in an unpainted 3-room house without running water, telephone, radio, TV, or books. Of all the details of their story, the UFO landing and the appearance of small alien creatures, one fact is indisputable. When the 8 adults and 3 children arrived at the nearby Hopkinsville police station at about 11 p.m., they were genuinely terror-struck. These aren't the kind of people who normally run to the police for help, Police Chief Russell Greenwell later told the investigators. What they do is reach for their guns. Yet here they were, women and children, hysterical, and one man with a pulse of 140 beats per minute, measured by an investigator. Small metallic humanoids, impervious to the bullets. So this is what they look like, the little men. You can see it right here. And that's what they look like from side. So they knew what they look like. They knew what they look like. According to the accounts given to the police, about 7 p.m. on the hot Sunday evening, the Sutton family friend Billy Ray Taylor was fetching water from the backyard well when he saw a silvery object, real bright with an exhaust, all the colors of the rainbow. As he later recounted, it came silently toward the house, passed over it, stopped in the air, and then dropped straight to the ground. Oh, I got an ant crawling on my where did that ant come from? Okay, I got it. Gina, you're supposed to be talking about aliens? I know. Taylor, 21, and his 18-year-old wife had come from Pennsylvania to visit Lucky Sutton, with whom he had worked on a traveling carnival. The Suttons, 50-year-old widow and a matriarch, Glennie Langford, her 2 older sons and their wives, a brother-in-law, and the widow's 3 younger children, 12, 10, and 7, didn't take Billy Ray seriously, laughing off his UFO account. We don't got no moderators here tonight. I have no idea. I guess they were not notified. But that's okay. You always seem to be doing pretty good, right? That's right. It's good. Hello there, Rich the Prophet. An hour later, altered by the dog's incessant barking, Lucky and Billy Ray went back to the back door and they made out a strange glow, in the midst of which they spied a small humanoid creature. About 3.5 feet tall, it had an oversized head, almost perfectly round. Its arms extended almost to the ground. Its hands had talons, and its oversized eyes glowed with a yellowish light. The body gave off an eerie shimmer in the light of the night's new moon, they said, as if it made of silver metal. Terrified, the 2 men grabbed a 20-gauge shotgun and a .22 rifle and fired at the little man, its hands now raised as if it held up at gunpoint as it came toward the back door. They reported that it then did a flip, scrambled upright, and fled into the darkness. Hold on you all a second. Gina, honey, what are you trying to do? I'm trying to, let me see this. Let me do it. I'm trying to get over here. Wait a minute. Gina, what are you doing? I'm trying to, you all, I am trying to, let me do this. I'm trying to get this, you all. I'm not good with this. Okay. Let me I don't know what I who I pushed as a moderator. Let's see if I got it right. Okay, Danny, honey, you a moderator. Okay, we got you as a moderator on here for now. This is kind of whatever in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. All right. Shortly after, the men saw a similar creature appeared in a side window and fired through the window screen. Still impervious to the bullets, the little man again flipped, then disappeared. I went out into the hallway and I crouched down next to Billy when I saw one approaching the door. Miss Langford told Isabel Davis, the author of an extensive report called Close Encounter at Kelly and Others of 1955. It looked like a 5-gallon gasoline can with a head on top and small legs. It was a shimmering bright metal like on my refrigerator. Touched by an alien. There's the little men. Oh, this is Clarksville, Tennessee. What are we going into another story? Well, let's look at it. We may be, and I don't know. That's okay if we are, because we still got some little green men because they got big ears. Their ears look like they got wings. Okay. Clarksville, Tennessee, the Leaf Chronicle, August the 24th, 1955. From witnesses' description, probably Taylor's only. Many details were questionable, especially the bent knee. These drawings also have been said to have been shown in Nashville, Tennessee. Wow. Hey, they got something on their chest. Evansville, Indiana Press, August the 22nd of 1955, drawn by Larry Hill, the paper staff artist, from the descriptions of the spacemen given by Elmer and John Sutton. The drawing was not checked with the Suttons. Madisonville, Kentucky. This is what that one looked like. August 24th, 1955, answering a letter of inquiry. The sketch was drawn by E. Arnold, Jr., just for a joke. Arnold was a reporter. Okay, you all. So we had some drawings right there of what these beings look like. If you're just tuning in, we're reading this incident that happened in Kentucky of the little green man. I've never heard of it in my life, but that's okay. We can do it. Yeah, that's right. The drama escalated when Taylor stepped outside under the small overhanging roof, and those behind him saw a claw-like hand reach down and touch his hair. The group screamed, and they pulled Taylor back while Lucky shot above the overhang and then at another similar creature in a nearby tree. It floated to the ground and then scurried into the woods. The Suttons moved inside and spent several hours listening for movements, hearing mostly occasional scratches on the roof. Well, that'd be kind of eerie. At 11 p.m., the whole group ran for the cars and hightailed it to the Hopkinsville police station at top speed. At the local police chief called for backup. His team was joined at the Sutton farm by the state police, the military police from nearby Fort Campbell, and a photographer from the Kentucky New Era. Their investigators found shell casings from the gunshots, but no other evidence. Neither could they find proof of heavy drinking. According to the Sutton matriarch, liquor was not allowed in the farmhouse. Once the police and others left, though, the creatures returned between 2:30 a.m. and daybreak. Miss Langford said she saw one glowing repeatedly by her bedside window, its claw-like hand on the screen. Oh my gosh, you all. Curiosity seekers descend. That looks like a disc right there, is what it looks like. the spaceship as drawn by Ledwith from Taylor's description. This is what it looked like. It did look like a disc. You know, there are shiny objects like that are disc-like up in the sky. I wonder if it's them. It could be them. In the following days, yeah, I got to get a drink of water. You watch that right there. Got to get a drink. Okay, that felt better. Okay, it did. In the following days, after radio stations and newspapers, including the New York Times, reported the incident, hundreds of curiosity seekers descended on the farm, often ridiculing the Suttons as ignorant or fraudulent. When no trespassing sounds proved useless at discouraging them, the family tried charging admission 50 cents for entering the grounds, $1 for information, $10 for taking pictures. That was a lot of money back then. After that, the skeptics blasted them as fortune-seeking fabulists. As the Kelly story spread into the world, it took on a life of its own. The number of little men grew to a dozen or more. A few years later, the little metallic men were conflated with an Eastern Kentucky's woman's report of a flying saucer and a 6-foot-tall man in green, helping launch the myth of the little green men. My name, this is the copy. My name is age 50. I live at Hopkinsville, Route 6, Kentucky. On Sunday night, August the 21st, 1955, about 10:30 p.m., I was walking through the hallway, which is located in the middle of my house, and I looked out the back south door and saw a bright silver object about 2.5 feet tall appearing round. I became excited and did not look at it long enough to see if it had any eyes or move. I was about 15 or 20 feet from it. I fell backwards and then was carried into the bedroom. My two sons, age 25, and his wife, age 29, and somebody else, age 21, his wife, age 27, and their friends, age 21, their wife, 18, were all in the house and saw this little man that looked like a monkey. About 3:30 a.m., I was in my bedroom and looked out the north window and saw a small silver shining object about 2.5 feet tall, and it had hands on the screen looking in. I called for my sons, and they shot at it, and it left. I was about 60 feet from it at this time. I did not see it anymore. I have read the above statement, and it is true to the best of my knowledge and belief. John E. Albert, certified true copy, First Lieutenant U.S. Air Force Adjutant. That was the first account on it. The day after the incident, police investigators returned to the farmhouse searching for evidence of a saucer landing, footprints, blood trails, or scratch marks on the roof. They found nothing. Bud Ledwith, a local radio station employee, interviewed the adult eyewitnesses and made drawings based on their accounts. According to Davis, he was impressed by their remarkably specificity and consistency, even though the men were far away from the farmhouse all day, unable to coordinate with the others. While the incident eventually attracted the attention of the Air Force UFO investigation program, Project Blue Book, documents suggest that its team never officially pursued the matter beyond checking in with their Fort Campbell counterparts who had been briefly at the scene the first night. One of the most thorough investigations of the Kelly incident was undertaken in 1956 by ufologist Isabel Davis, and published several decades later by the Center for UFO Studies, a group founded by the astronomer Dr. J. Allen Hynek. Project Blue Book's civilian investigator. Her nearly 200-page report, co-written with Ted Blocher, includes detailed maps, drawings, documentary records, summaries of similar accounts around the world, and interviews with several Sutton family members and police investigators. Davis summarized the latter concern about the lack of physical... Thank you, Rich the Prophet. Danny, honey, what's happening? Mars Ada? Oh. Davis summarized the latter's concern about the lack of physical evidence, but to her reckoning, none of the possible explanations, a deliberate hoax, a publicity play, group hallucinations, made sense. None of it did. While questions arose about whether the young men were exaggerating, possibly fueled by the hidden stores of liquor, Davis's strong impression after the meeting with Miss Langford was one of a somber, no-nonsense matriarch who abhorred the limelight and had no reason to lie. None of the witnesses, Davis noted, had any history of making preposterous allegations. In 2006, Joe Nickel, Senior Research Fellow of the International Committee for Skeptical Inquiry and a self-styled paranormal investigator, reviewed the accumulated evidence in an article entitled Siege of the Little Green Men, the 1955 Kelly, Kentucky incident. In it, he raised suspicion about what he called Billy Taylor's embroidered testimony. He matched Taylor's UFO sighting with similar reports from that day, which suggested a small meteor in the vicinity. As for the little men, Nickel floated an explanation used for other alien encounter stories, owls. In particular, the great horned owl, also known as the hoot owl, has long wings that could have been mistaken for arms, along with talons, yellow eyes, long ears, round head that might also match the little men description. As for their metallic shine, Nichols suggests that they could have easily been reflecting the moonlight. But while hoot owls are known to be active at dusk and extremely aggressive when defending their nests, some investigators question characterizations of the creatures as hostile. To some, their behavior that night in Kelly appeared to be simply curious. You all, this was like the Kentucky. Never heard that before, but there were similar incidents of little green men, if you're just tuning in, that showed up. Look at this. I don't know about this is Loveless. Oh, now see, let's look. I don't know what this is. Is this the one we did, Lovelace? I don't want that, you all. Let's see if we can find something like that. Is this the same place? Let's get it. What I saw that night was real. Is it time to take aliens more seriously? This was for the 21st. You know, what's really interesting is with these aliens and UFO stuff, it's like the internet was silent on them for a long time. You couldn't pull up very many stories on it, and now you go search and you can find stories on them, which is really, really interesting. Now, let me see what this one was. The Pentagon. Okay, well, we can look at this. Let's look at one more, you all, just one more. I don't know if I was abducted by the aliens or not. The whole point of my work is to describe what happened to me. So this is what this person said. The Pentagon has been quietly investigating unidentified flying objects since 2007. And indeed, they have, somebody's been keeping tabs on these UFOs. They have lots of interesting things to read about. The fact that they think they might exist is good news to those who claim to have seen them. In June, the U.S. government published a long-awaited report in UFOs, although the report did not, as many hope, admit to the existence of the little green men. It did reveal that not only were objects appearing in our skies that the Pentagon, you remember the Pentagon, you all. We remember the Pentagon. We've also got, Gina, don't you dare do it. We've got something with the Pentagon, you all. Gina, that is not very nice of you. Well, sorry. We've got something happened to Sabrina. She is, I think they're using CGI now. This is the Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary Sabrina. We think that she's AI now. And or she could be CGI, she could be shape-shifting, but yeah, that's we do have a Pentagon Press Secretary list on this page. And it's kind of interesting. It is. Let's get back to it, you all. We're supposed to be reading this, but it's talking about the Pentagon. The Pentagon also, they control the U.S. military. They could not explain, but some clearly pose a safety of flight issue and may pose a challenge to our U.S. national security. The Pentagon also revealed that it has been taking UFOs seriously, that in 2007 it discreetly set up the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, the AATIP, which has been gathering data on unexplained aerial phenomenons ever since. And the unclassified version, also classified versions, there are no clear indication that there is any non-terrestrial explanation for the sightings, but they didn't rule it out. They offered 5 typically mundane possible explanations for the UFOs, and crucially, one catch-all. The other is stargazers and conspiracy theories, you all. So we know that that's not happening. Let's see this right here. Rutgers University, some man in, I don't know if this is going to tell. I don't think this is. No, this is just a thing like this, you all. This is not good. We don't want to look at it, you all. But we talked about the little green men. How do we analyze them? Wait a minute. If we could find another one. History of green aliens and the common depictions of them. Okay, well, we can see this one. This is kind of different, but they don't got no big ears. This is something like this. Yes, we got it. We do. When you hear about the aliens, what do you see? Is it little green men? If so, you are not alone. There is widespread depiction of aliens as a green humanoid creatures, but I thought we heard that the Greys or somebody was humanoid, but now these are green, possibly with big bulging eyes, has been persistent in popular culture for decades. So where did the idea of them come from? It started as a mistaken news report in the 50s and then extended into the comic books, cartoons, television shows, and beyond, in the 1947 thing. See, they got this one right here, the original one in Kentucky. Where's the ears, you all? Because the ears seem to be missing. The Sutton family, nobody was drinking. No, see, this is just a Getty image. They didn't look like this, and this is the same thing with the adults. And humanoid aliens, we got some clay figures right here. Yeah, so this is not leprechauns. That's really interesting with the leprechauns. Even before the modern media had a field day with little green men of the alien type. Other little green men held the road. Leprechauns may in fact be the original little green men, and their stories have been told in Celtic legends and lore since the 13th century. Naturally, there has been not much, but a little speculation that the leprechauns may be alien creatures which rely on all sorts of suppositions and almost zero evidence. The Flintstones. Okay, let's see this. There are several depictions of green aliens that are benign and even friendly, such as the Great Gazoo. I never heard of that, from the Flintstones. I have no idea what that looks like, you all. Never heard of that. Oh, okay, that's a character. Did you all remember that? Because I didn't remember that. There's one. It's a male thing. All right, it's the male species. That one. From the Flintstones. That's it. That's it, you all. That's about all we're going to find on the little green men, except for the leprechauns and stuff of that nature. That's, wonder why. Why can't you really find very much on them, you all? Even when you go to Wiki Fandom, you have these little green men right here. LGM Squeeze Toy Aliens. And you have Buzz Lightyear with his little green men. I'm sure the little green men do exist. Gina, you're just saying that. No, I'm not. I'm not just saying it. I'm pretty sure they exist. Otherwise, there would not be so many things written about them. There wouldn't be, you all. Now, 2.5 to 3.5 feet. And you see that's like a silver disc, like that. But they could have the claw fingers. I wouldn't want to hear something clawing on my roof. I wouldn't, or my window. I wouldn't want to hear any of it at all. That's right. Yeah. I am going to go, you all. So this is the 1955 Hopkinsville, Kentucky encounter with two. It started off as two little green aliens. They saw a silver flying disc that appeared. It was around, I guess, what, 2.5, some odd 3 feet, and the beings inside of them they were 2.5 to 3.5 feet tall, but they were green and they had big floppy ears and little bitty antennas. They had big eyes that glowed yellow. They had a slit for a mouth. They had a nose that had probably like a circle on it, and their arms almost reached their ankles. And their legs were sticks. And their upper body was like muscular. So if they were there back then, they're here now. I don't think they exited. They didn't go anywhere. They're here. And I'm sure there's a lot more reports of them. But we may not be hearing about them because the information is suppressed. They really do try to suppress everything and dismiss it. And it wasn't an owl. It wasn't. So thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to go. And thank you for listening to Story Time with Gina. This is a podcast. And you don't hear much about the little green aliens. You don't. But we did tonight, and it happened. So with that being said, thank you, Danny, for being our volunteer moderator. Thank you. And with that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello. From my heart to yours, love you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, you all. And I hope to see you tomorrow. Love you.